Okay. So, the basic thing that I've been playing with here is this kind of scorpion reach that goes out through the fingers and the top of the head, and then that same arm, same leg going across in the other direction. And this goes in both directions, so here. So one thing that I've played with and trained a lot of people is starting in a heterolateral spiral. So there's a bit of a lunge moving forward with one knee, but I'm actually turning in the other direction, and I'm really feeling that spiral through the spine. And then my right leg and right arm is back, and I'm going to be looking for this movement of throwing my hand, and I'm really slicing through the air and reaching with the fingers. And then I tend to look back toward my back leg, but my goal is that the top of my head, as if someone is pulling my hair, is reaching this way. So I'm looking at here, and how much can I have? Similarly with the leg, the heel swings back, so there's a real feeling of that kind of heel kick feeling, except the toes are also reaching at the same time. So it's not just like a gentle reach through the toes, it is a momentum swing through the heel, but as I send that heel, I'm also sweeping off the ground with the toes so I can feel that momentum that can carry me around. So that's happening simultaneously with the arm. So arm and leg, leg forward, arm back, and then as you shift back here, it switches, boom, and I feel this. And I, as you see, always tend to inhale simply because that inhalation is going to open the front of the spine more because the lungs are in front of the spine. And I'm generally going to exhale as I soften out of that spiral. So that is the kind of introduction of this feeling and really looking back toward that. And from there, if you want to really feel the tug-of-war feeling, you can simply stand here, and the goal is to feel that the toes want to pull me that way, and the fingers want to pull this way. So for anybody who was there the day I taught my little class, this is again that bidirectionality. And I really feel that there's an honest desire for the toes to go, and as the toes win that tug-of-war, the fingers don't just release, they keep on reaching, and even as finally the weight does win, here my fingers continue to reach away even as the larger momentum of the pelvis and the spine is bringing that spiral all the way through my arm. So I have that feeling that at any moment I wouldn't need to start over to reverse that. There's that sense of it's being pulled, but it's still pulling. So at any moment, those fingers, even as the arm travels through space here, those fingers are reaching. Cool. Okay, so moving on. Now we get into the fun part, which is trying to find ways to transition that kinetic energy into a different spiral and a different pattern through space. So what I've been playing with in slow motion is that same beginning. I'm winding up into the heterolateral, so over that knee, behind me, and then I'm really inhaling, looking and reaching into that spiral as the leg kicks in the other direction. From here, the fingers keep reaching, the head keeps reaching as the toes go as far as they can. And here I'm going to start softening, but I continue to feel that spiral. And now it's going to go from the toes into the knee. It's going to drop into the top of the pelvis, and I'm going to feel that tailbone now. Not the tailbone, sorry. The sit bone on the right side of the pelvis is going to take over that momentum. Once that foot roots into the ground, because the momentum is still traveling, it comes up through the bones of the leg into that pelvis and continues that spiral, which then, once the pelvis anchors as far as it can go in that rotation, is going to come into the spine, up the spine, into the shoulder. So that's the full rotation in one direction. A little bit smoother is there. And then we have two options. So one is to play with reversing it, which is super fun. Here, and the feet are just doing what they need to do to allow the movement of the pelvis. And I can come all the way to that full rotation and feel the elasticity of the muscles of the core and the shoulders coming around. And then with another inhale, I can simply reverse that. And now instead of the leg winning the tug of war, the fingers are going to win the tug of war. So now from here, I'm going to reverse that exact wave that came from the foot through the pelvis to the hand, and now it's going to come, the hand, fingers, and top of head are going to reach. That's going to start to pull the chest and shoulder girdle. This foot is just nice and soft so it can swivel, simply to allow this movement to travel through the spine. Finally, it connects and pulls open the pelvis, but that leg doesn't come with, because the toes are going to be reaching, of course, away and back. So I'm here, and as the fingers pull the toes off the ground, they want to go back, so they don't want to come with, and that gets me back to this spiral again, which eventually I can soften in about a million different ways, which gives us and basically playing with being able to send that back and forth. Then the other option, well, one of the many other options, but the other one I like to play with, is how do we convert that energy to go in the same direction, but to bring it from the toes leading to the head and the fingers leading. And so for that, slightly different variation, same beginning, feeling the head hanging behind, the weight being pulled by toes, heel, knee, dropping that weight to the pelvis so that it pulls and undulates through. And then as I come here, the head is the last thing to come. But because this ends up not static, but kind of rooted to a certain degree, that wave is going to reverse. It's going to go pelvis, spine, up to the top of the head, and then the head is going to continue that momentum, and it's going to take over in the other direction until eventually that foot comes down in that spiral direction again, and now we soften, and here this gives us the chance to throw that leg back again, soften the elbow, transition, top of the head and fingers, foot going back, and then of course you can just reverse that. Whoa. I clearly demonstrated on my better side first. Or again, at any point, once you get to the end of that spiral, instead of transitioning it, you can simply change. And that just gets us into this really fun world of just how much can I play with that momentum. And I find that it is really fun to go fast, and that every time I start it fast, I end up cutting off so many of those little microscopic pieces of that undulation. So that's that's why I work on this a lot and recommend working on it if it's interesting to anybody in super slow motion, because you can really just play with, when I get here, like, what are my possibilities with this energy? How can I transform the path of kinetic energy like a roller coaster, or feel the elasticity if I actually honestly keep reaching, where eventually I can reverse it? Or that pelvis can even start, as we start to go into just the principle rather than the exercise. As I come around, it doesn't have to be the heel. You can start at any point from that drop of the sit bone. And similarly here, it doesn't have to be the arm. It could be, for example, the front of the pelvis. And this whole exercise can happen without the arms or legs being the guidance. But I do feel it's both fun and very relevant to contact to feel this, which leads into all kinds of fun dancey stuff, but a lot of possibilities of going into lifts and really feeling that we can fly light and we can fly dynamically because we're reaching in both directions, but not in a straight line. All right, I'm gonna stop filming and talking and work on this a bit. Yeah, super fun. Thanks, y'all.